Hey guys, Rick Bigger here at Northside Jiu-Jitsu. We're working a little DT stuff, and we were having a little conversation about stances. So I'm going to share some of my thoughts on different stances, wrestling stances, grappling stances, fighting stances, shooting stances, and then how I've developed what I kind of call the universal stance. I'm a big believer in using one stance for everything. If anybody that's trained under me, you know that my real principles are that you have to keep it simple. You got to build a strong foundation and simple tactics and techniques, and that leads to good success. Okay, you cannot expect in an adrenaline-filled environment to suddenly remember all these complex and advanced things. It's just not going to work. You have to be truly brilliant in the basics, and I think that foundation really starts with what kind of stance we're using, and I can develop those principles through that. So what I mean by that, start out with grappling stances. Okay, for our guys that are people that are training jiu-jitsu, training wrestling, we're going to get a good solid stance, right? The foundation of your stance, shoulder width apart. Okay, if you are right-handed, I want you to drop your right leg back. If you're left-handed, I want you to drop your left leg back. Some people can shoot ambidextrously with either leg forward. Okay, but we don't want to do that. I want to keep it simple. If you're right-handed, right leg back. My legs are about shoulder width apart. My right leg is back. My left foot is facing forward because that's the direction I'm going to be going. My right leg is about a 45, and that allows me to grip better into the mat and drive off that foot better. Okay. So width of the stance, staggered with my right leg back. Depending on how tall you are, you may have your legs a little wider apart. I'm 6'3", so I tend to get my legs a little bit further than shoulder width, and I have a pretty dramatic drop back on this side. Okay. Now changing my levels. Okay. I have to defend my legs in a grappling match. The main thing in grappling, especially when you're not wearing a gi, as I'm not today, if you don't have clothing on for them to grip, okay, I have to defend my legs. That's where the takedown is going to come. So I do that by changing my level and getting my hands out in front of my legs. My hands are my first line of defense. My front hand primarily, just like a fight with your jab. Okay, this is my jab hand. This is my defense hand. It tells me how far I am away from the person. It keeps the person at the range that I want them to be, and it starts the hand fight, which is going to lead to the takedowns. My backhand is my attack hand. I need to protect it. If it's tied up, almost no takedowns will work for me. I need this hand to secure my grips. This is my final hand that comes and finishes my takedown. So it's a little further back to protect it. Think about it, it's your big right hand to knock somebody out. In a grappling match, it's my hand. If that's your strong hand, if you're left-handed, it's the opposite. Okay, so it's a little further back to protect it, and it finishes my takedowns for me. So good, solid grappling stance, feet shoulder width apart. If you're right-handed, I'm staggering that back. Left hand is the opposite. Okay, change my levels down. I need my hands out in front of my legs to protect them. They're my first line of defense. My back is straight, my chest is high, and I have a good, solid stance. My front leg is facing forward so I can go that way. My back leg is angled so I can grip with the entire side of the mat and drive with the ball of my foot. Okay? So how does it change to fighting? How does my stance change? So let's first go fighting open hand. Okay, so I'm going to fight. Good saying from a black belt named Dave Camarillo. Okay, you say rules dictate behavior. So because rules dictate behavior, okay, in a fight, the rules say that I can punch and kick in the face, I can knee in the face. All right, so getting into a wrestling stance in a fight makes no sense because my face is vulnerable to be punched, kneed, kicked, etc. Okay, so I have to keep my level higher. Okay, I have to stand. I have to match the level of my partner. Okay, so he's going to be standing up. Right, so I'm going to be at that stance. My feet remain the same. My leg is still staggered to the right because I'm right-handed. Now, instead of my hands being in front to protect takedowns, they come into my body, my elbows protecting my ribs, and my hands protecting my face just for a basic boxing stance. Okay, there's different types. There's all types of different shells out there, different ways to hold your hands. Remember what I said in the beginning. I want to keep it simple all the way across the board, and we're going to develop a universal stance. Okay, so feet are still shoulder width apart. Left leg is still facing forward. Right leg is still to 45 to help me turn in my punches. Hands come in front of my face. The only thing that changes is my level. My chest is still high. My eyes are still facing forward. And I'm still ready to go to fight. Okay? Because we can punch, kick, and knee I can my face low, so now I'm gonna be in a fighting stance, all right? Last is shooting, okay? So should I shoot out of a different stance that I fight? Well, if we're fighting and I need to use my gun and I have to get into a special stance all of a sudden to use it, does that make a lot of sense? It doesn't to me. Adrenaline-filled environments, we're gonna do what we train the most. So it depends. Do you train at the range the most or do you train in the gym the most? Okay? Just depends. That's the one you're gonna revert back to automatically, the thing that I do the most. Okay, so I want to develop one stance. So I have started to practice where I shoot out of this stance. The only time I change my stance is if I'm grappling. I simply change my level and come down lower and bring my hands out. I come up, the stance is the same. I go to shoot, the stance is the same. This is a perfectly good shooting platform. I still have a nice solid base. I've got one leg back. If I needed to get rid of my firearm and grapple, I can. It puts my gun right where I need it to be. Universal stance. So I'm a huge believer, no matter what we're doing, we're in the exact same stance. The principles that really matter are, do I have a good base? Got a good solid base. I can fight from here, I can throw punches, I can throw leg kicks, I can throw whatever I want from here. Can I wrestle from here? I can shoot automatically. I can clinch and grapple from here. My firearm's good. I have a good stance to shoot. So my base is solid. Is my level correct? If I'm wrestling, down lower, fighting up taller, shooting right in the middle. Okay? My level is still correct for all three, so we're good to go. The one thing that I want you, that people will probably disagree with this, is left versus right. Okay? Some people, they learn to wrestle this way, and they learn to box this way, or vice versa. But I see a lot of guys that are left-handed, they were taught by a right-handed wrestling coach, and they were taught that this is a proper stance. And they wrestled here their whole life. Then when they realize they're left-handed, they learn to box this way. So now they have a problem with shooting. They're fighting, and they need to switch in order to shoot. That's not good. These are delaying the transition between boxing to wrestling. Okay, so check it out, guys. See what you think. Play with it. Hit me up in the comments and let me know what you think about it. Thanks for watching. Once again, I'm Rick Figger with Northside Jiu-Jitsu. I'll check you later.